He's not learning his lesson. So he's got all his units grouped up, so the siege tank's going to be very effective. They're going to do a lot of damage. And he just can't... He doesn't know how he should attack this. And as you can see, the Terran player is just like comfortable to be like, hey, you know what? If he just keeps attacking my front, I'll win. Which is basically what's happening. As you can hear the poor Roach's scream. Okay, one thing I just want to point out is that if you got Overlord drops, you could just pop over here, where there's no heavy reinforcements. Just take the back door and be like, hey guys, what's up? And, you know, you'd probably still lose all your units, maybe, possibly, maybe not. But you would also take down a lot more of his units, and when you have a giant base advantage, you can afford to be a little inefficient if it cost him his units. Alright, so with 2 bases mining effectively, 3 bases up, a ton of tech choices, and what could he be doing at this point? So he just lost an ungodly number of units. I just want to point out the units lost tab. This is horrendous. This is a massacre. It's like he just tossed all the roaches into a Zerg blender and goo came out, and it was delicious, but it didn't help him. Okay, what can he do? He can use his overlords right now while there's peace and quiet. Use his overlords to scout out all the possible expansions that could be taken by his opponent. He can use mutas to do the same thing. He could use his military units to destroy stuff. And if we look at the APM, yeah, like Roar has decent APM. Like he can... I don't know how I'm going to finish that thought, so I'm just going to sort of bandit it halfway through. But what he could do is he could be more efficient with his APM, because I get the feeling that he has good micro. However, his macro suffers, and his opponent's just throwing away units, which you probably shouldn't do when you're one basing it 33 minutes into the game. Of course, the opponent could have an expansion, you don't know. It could be located anywhere in those shadowy areas that aren't currently scouted. So yeah, how to break a defensive Terran position. You don't necessarily have to break it. You just have to take other expansions and or tech up. And if you have Broodlords, they're the flying siege tanks of the sky. They're pretty amazing. Oh, I should probably follow that camera. So he's getting Banelings. Questionable usefulness, just because he's facing an entrenched position. And that's not like he has groups of Marines wandering all about. And yeah. Okay, so yeah. Rar, I want to tell you about the magic number. When you look at a mining mineral patch, you can just go like this and just count quickly how many drones there are. There should be approximately 2.5 stacks, roughly. That's like pretty decent for saturation. As you can see, the magic number is not a factor in this game, or not a factor. So yeah, now we go for attempt number 3. So yeah, I just want to point out that these units are not being used the way they were intended to be used. You could... Oh my god, that was such a bad massacre. Okay, so this is the 3rd time that this has happened. So what Roar needs to do is realize that A, the onus is not on him to attack. Like, he doesn't have to attack his opponent, because siege tanks, while very powerful, are a very static unit. 2, he just has to be aware of drops, which he can use using overlords and mutas to shoot them down out of the sky to discourage his opponent from doing that. 3, he should have map control. Should get used to creep spread, because creep spread is amazing in every possible way. 4, never attack an opponent at his strong spot, especially with Zerg. Your units tend to be fast but fairly fragile. Hotkey your queens so they can inject constantly. Oh, as you can see, looking at the mini-map, incoming attack. Bam! That was actually a pretty quick reaction time. Yeah, Marines are so dirty for drops. Marines are such a powerful unit. Yeah, so he's building up his unit again, his units again. But Roar, what I want to say is that saturate your bases better. Always be trying to tech up, because Ultras and Broodlords are very powerful units, and they're really good for breaking entrenched positions. Roaches are very effective against Hellions, I would say. But aside from that, they're an okay unit. They're an okay generic unit, but you have to think about what the purpose of what you're trying to do. Like, if you're trying to destroy large groups of Marines, Infestors, Banelings, Ultras, that's about it. Like, Roaches are pretty decent against Marines, but they're not as mobile, I would say. So yeah, I think you can see the Marines are just getting beaten up. Oh yeah, that's another thing I wanted to point out. I would say Roar, your gameplay indicates that you think that you need to crush your opponent with a strong military. However, there's a few different ways you can win at StarCraft. You can actually just starve your opponent out and just deny him bases, and eventually he just sort of runs out of gas, quite literally. I'm hilarious. Okay. But yeah, you can just take every base, and you can just tech up, and you just have to get comfortable with the idea of getting that Infestor Pit, getting that Hive, upgrading that Spire. Okay, you have an Ultra Den. That's pretty decent. Yeah, you're building 3 Ultras. It is a little late, however, and you definitely do not want to drop them in the front of that Death Cauldron, I want to call it. The Death Ramp, as it will forever be named, where the great massacres of 2011 occurred. Oh shit, son. Okay, so 2 missile turrets, that's not too bad. You'll take casualties, but it won't be too horrendous. Fortunately, your opponent's not using his his SCVs to repair, and he has no units in location. But yeah, missile turrets are a pain to deal with mutas. You just need a lot of them, or you need a few ground units to just walk in and be like, bam, 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 bam. Okay, but yeah, he's keeping his opponent's bases down, which is really good. Normally you would assume the natural has been taken, but rules do not apply. The normal rules of the universe do not apply when you are playing in Bronze League. However, if you're a professional player, you'll still see choke points. You'll still see players foolishly use units to situations like that, where enemy is heavily fortified somewhere, and he'll just throw units into it. However, the only difference between a bronze player and a pro player is that they'll lose much less units, whatever, and they will usually find alternative ways of attack that are more efficient for their units. Okay, so he's got mutas. He's like, all right, we gotta fly back over there. We gotta do everything around here because all these Zerglings and Ultralists have stubby arms and they cannot reach flying creatures. Okay, so flying banshees have been a recurring theme. Spore crawlers at expansions, or queens. Queens are pretty effective, though not against large number of banshees. Okay, so basically Roar's down to 0 bases. Oh wait, I think he's... Yeah, okay, so he's still barely... He has 3 little crystals, and that's the extent of his economy right now. That's not a good sign. And... Oh no, the poor Ultra Den. We need that! You monsters! So yeah, Queen's taking a beating. Impressive, stays alive. Okay, so, Broodlords. I just want to keep repeating that. Broodlords. When the game goes on for a very long time, Broodlords. Ultras are good. Don't rush them in. Don't rush them into the front. Please don't rush them into the front. No, so many have died. How many more must die? No. No, don't do it. No. This will be the end of us all. No. No, Ultras. Don't do it, Ultras. You have so much to live for. Oh, the DPS. The horrible DPS. Oh, the massacre. Oh, no. The humanity. Okay, so Roar's like, shit. That didn't work. Shit. Okay. Choke points. Oh, the minimap. No, invisible units. The ghost of Christmas past are attacking. Why? No, why? Oh, okay. So yeah, especially against Terran, Normally you will not be so fortunate as to have them turtle up that hardcore in one base. And you have to try to do efficient exchanges. You'll make mistakes, that's part of the process of learning. But yeah, Banshees are just ravaging the Zerg base right now. Invisible Banshees, I should point out. Not just any kind of Banshee. Invisible Banshee. Oh, Zerglings are getting popped. Oh, Overseer on the way. Oh, no, their energy ran out. Yo, they really should have been using the microwave